Hey folks, welcome to Bear Mountain. Today is March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Thought we would do a quick walk around and just show you where things are at this early part of spring. So let's take a walk. Okay, we're in the tunnel where we planted the sweet peas and with the stalk on the outside of the row. These guys, the sweet peas now, are getting to the point where they're really starting to put out a nice pinched, these guys have all been pinched, and they're starting to put out some nice leaders that it looks like pretty quick we're going to be able to start wrapping around the cord and strings. So these guys are moving along pretty good. For middle of March, these things will be tremendously different by the middle of April. The stalk has made it through transplant really well. We only lost a couple of them to a little bit of slug activity, but these guys are going to advance and we should be harvesting these guys hopefully by, well, before we actually, the sweet peas will probably be about halfway up the cord and string by the time these guys are ready to harvest, which would be, what do you think, May?
Yeah, I think we had them in the past around mid-May.
Yeah, about mid-May. So this one's going really well. Geraniums on the outside row got a little weeding to do, but the geraniums made it through winter and they're coming out of, we cut them back pretty severely and they're starting to grow again. So those guys will be ready for harvest probably, we'll start harvesting those guys in June, I would think. So let's move on.
Nice. That will be nice.
Yeah.
So let me just take lots of green and a nice row of stalk.
Yep. Okay, so these guys are doing really well. Let's move on and check out, you might remember a project we did about 3 weeks ago where we moved the big tarp over to one of our field areas that was really pretty overgrown. And so we're 3 weeks into it now, and let's go out and check out and see what it's looking like. All right, we kind of pulled the tarp back here a little bit, and what you may notice is if you look at the tarp, we'll put a before picture in there, or a picture we took right after we put the tarps down, but the poofiness is down tremendously. And if you look at this area right here, I just pulled this back, this was green grass pathway, just like we have here. And you can see the grass is already starting to die back. It does have some sprouts. It's trying to come back at it. But you know, if we leave this on for another 3 weeks, this stuff here is definitely died back, and the roots are going to start going on these guys pretty quick. So we do have some vole activity going on under here. I can see, like if I just look at this right here, there's some mouse poop, and you can kind of see some of their trails. But you know, once we pull this tarp back, it's going to get harder and harder for those guys to hide. So, and we do have cats that have been out here hanging around. A lot. We found evidence of their success. So they're doing a pretty good job. So I think this has got about another 3 to 4 weeks. It's going to be late April, wouldn't you think, by the time it's ready to go?
Yeah, we're shooting for like the 1st of May.
Right, trying to get stuff in.
With our stuff in.
Yeah, so we did some cleanup up above, but we still haven't gotten to those guys the next area. I need to whack some of that stuff down with my scythe, and I've been remiss. I haven't got my tarps over there on the other side here, but
there's a lot of stuff to do.
It was just spring. We're all busy, but we'll get to it.
The downside is we've got another 4 or 5 days of rain coming.
Yeah, bummer. Well, just be tunnel work.
Yeah, there's always tunnel work.
Okay, let's take a look now. We're going to go over and take a look at the mums, because that project, we'll just touch back on how we did with the pathways. And also, you might remember we did a chop and drop in the pathways next to the mums. And we'll check out how that came out. And it's looking like it's time to start doing some cuttings because they're getting some height. So let's take a look. All right, the mums are actually coming along pretty good. This tunnel, they've broken dormancy, and we've got all kinds of varieties in here, from spiders to regular incurves and things of that nature. And we're going to be doing, we got some holes, so we're going to be doing some cuttings. And what we'll try to do is we have the varieties kind of in groups. So what we want to do is we'll take cuttings off of, like this one here is mocha, I believe, up here. So we're going to kind of like take, no, it's evening glow, excuse me, evening glow, and we're going to fill this one in here, and we'll do that to just try to fill in the holes all the way down. So these guys are already 3 or 4 inches tall, so that's pretty good.
That's cuttings.
Yeah, and I really got to get a compost mulch in here. Been meaning to do that, but they seem to be responding pretty well. We've been treating it with JMS, the Jadam microorganism solution, and honestly, I kind of think between that and what we did with the chop and drop and the pathways, that it's kind of helped keep things a little warmer, because these guys are actually in further ahead than normal. By March, we're still usually very, very short. So, and the chop and drop, I think, came out pretty good. It's a little rough in terms of the sticks. I kind of thought maybe they'd break down a little more by this point, you know, because I've been walking on this other side a lot to get the tulips out. And we've already harvested half the tulips already, and we've got some more to go in the next day or two. And then the Dusty Miller side over here.
These tulips, the stuff that's left over on the tulip bed,
is garlic.
It's garlic.
Yeah, we interplant, it's just cloves of garlic randomly. We just throw it in when we're planting the tulips. It helps, I think, deter, I don't know, it kind of somewhat helps with it seems like it seems to help with rodents somewhat. But then again, we did have this area, well, I didn't have as much garlic in the front. That was a problem. I should have put more up here, because that was the group I lost, but they didn't go into the other tulips that I had more garlic into. So they just kind of stayed right up here, and then that was the only one we lost. So I guess we were kind of lucky. Chop and drop Dusty Miller. I think it's actually working out pretty good. It looks like, you know, I really would have thought it would have, you know, kind of turned a more soil color. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of silver colored. So it's going to be a little reflective of light.
And they're coming up.
Yeah, and our Dusty Miller's coming back. I did lose a few plants on the outside, but I think it's okay. These guys will all fill in, and we'll be harvesting off of the Dusty Miller, I'd say by early summer in June. We'll be taking some cuttings for the florists at that point. And so this, I think it worked out pretty good. I would do the chop and drop again. I think, because I don't see any weeds in the pathway. I mean, it's really looking good. So let's go look at the Ranunculus. Okay, this tunnel's got our Ranunculus, our spring snapdragons that were overwintered. We tried, you know, a second year on the Sweet William, but we're gonna get some off
Those are sweet.
Yeah, the sweets. And
regular diantha sweet.
And
they didn't work.
It didn't work. We thought, I mean, the plants looked pretty good last fall, but
they're just spindly.
Then the winter just kind of took them down. So, but we still got a few things coming on it that, you know, maybe will be merchantable. The snapdragons look fantastic. I've got to get my frost blankets out of here. We've just had some really frosty nights.
Last 2 nights went down below 30.
But these guys are unpinched. This first group here, wow, I've really got it because it's kind of like touching them.
They're unpinched because they didn't like to be pinched last year.
Yeah, this was the Cool series.
The Cool series didn't seem to respond well to pinching.
Right. So, but the stalks are looking really good. And the Ranunculus are just starting. We harvested 1 bunch this week, and we should be getting, you know, a good harvest out of them coming up this next week. Further down, we've got overwintered delphinium. I think this is the 3rd year on these plants. And we've got multiple varieties in here that gets a little hard to see with this fabric cloth over the top of them, but they're coming along really well, coming out of dormancy and already put a lot of growth on. I do want to mention one thing about the Ranunculus, though, that seems to be kind of an interesting observation. The white picotee and labelle white picotee and our Amadine pastel mix were from our own saved corms. And then this year, the labelle salmon, which is very weak, and champagne and Amadine white were purchased new this last year. And for some reason, we cannot figure out why they're not thriving as much as the white picotees and the Amadine. It could be operator error. You know, I'm not trying to make any kind of inferences other than this is not the first year we've had inconsistencies in our Ranunculus in terms of its just robustness. Now, we do have one group over here that is, these were late planted, where you see the nice big bushy Ranunculus over here on this other side. I apologize if the light is a little weird. This is the Elegant Series Salmoni, or salmon, and they're looking very good, but they're about a month behind, I guess.
Looks like it.
These other guys over here, they were planted later, and that was also from saved corms, and they're doing just very well. So I don't know if you know what's going on here, but when I look at saved corms versus purchased corms, and I see a difference here in vitality, I get a little concerned. So otherwise, I think the Ranunculus are doing pretty good. Stalk on the other side over here, starting to stretch, getting ready to put up its bloom heads. And
you can see the little buds.
Yep, little buds. So they'll start stretching up further. And these frost blankets are coming off tomorrow. We got to get rid of them. It's no longer. We're going to declare it. We're going to declare winter over.
Oh, famous last words.
Yeah, it's over. It's done. Okay, so these are the plants that are coming along right now. We've got things that we have seeded that are in seedling stage that we will be planting over the course of the next week or two. So a lot of planting going to be going on.
Still a lot of seeding.
And a lot of seeding too. So we'll, when we get into the planting stage of it, we'll show kind of our methodology of how we're doing that. But one of the last things we want to take a look at is we did a biochar video about a week ago, and we did a nice big burn. We got like about 6+ cubic feet of the material, and I harvested it, and I inoculated it, and I put a nitrogen source in it. And it's been about 4 days since I did that, so I thought I'd go over and we'll just check it and see what it looks like. It's a big pile. So let's go take a look. Okay, as I talked about, we harvested about 6+ cubic feet of biochar, and then I had some old, a little tailings left in a couple of bags of cottonseed meal and fish bone meal from, I don't know how long ago it was. But so what we did is we mixed that up, and then I put compost soil in it to give it a inoculant. And it's been about 4 days. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to check the temperature to see, oops, going the wrong way. Gotta learn to do things right. Just to kind of see where things are at. Ambient right now is about 60. Oh, I can feel the heat. Ooh-wee, yeah, that's gaining. Still climbing. I'm over 80. Still going. Okay, this is thrilling video here. But it looks to me like it's somewhere, it's still climbing, and it's probably going to top out somewhere over 100, which is good. That means it's kind of a low-grade bacterial. It's working on it, and so I'm not going to worry about it getting too hot or anything like that, because, yeah, it's topping out right around 100, maybe about 110. Probably depends where you stick it, but you can kind of see steam, you know. If I just
I can see the steam.
you can see the steam coming off of it. So yeah, it's about 110. Okay, so this is bacterially, it's working really good on it. I also used some worm tea on it in addition to the compost soil, so I tried to hit, you know, a broad variety of everything. So we're just going to leave this for about 3 or 4 weeks. Wow, yeah, you can see the steam coming off. This is amazing. This charcoal is hot. No, it's not going to burst into flames. But what we should see is a nice fungal bloom on it in a couple of weeks. As this bacterial phase of it will go pretty fast. A couple of days, it'll be back down. And yeah, then the fungal will get really working on it. So this is looking really good. So anyway, folks, we just wanted to do a quick walk around. I want to say thanks for joining us today, and as always, stay safe out there, and y'all have a good day. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.